Well, shaking, folks. Back with another reaction, back with some more George Michael. And we're going back to his 1990 album, Listen Without Prejudice, Volume 1. And the next tune is Something to Save. It sounds like something being valued, so whether it's in a precarious spot or whether just something that is going to be cherished and preserved in the long term, I would be more inclined to think the former, the idea of something that is in peril or something that may dissipate or be broken apart, and therefore it is something to be saved. But yeah, again, it's conferring a value upon something or someone. It sounds, like a relationship rather than another person. You'd say someone to save, or something to save sounds like an impersonal noun, but perhaps related to very personal relations. Either way, I'll see what I can pick up on a first listen. This is George Michael. The track is Something to Save, and it's from the 1990 album Listen Without Prejudice, Volume 1. And once again, big shout out to Nigel for sharing this and much else. And away we go.
If you've got something to say, why don't you say it? If you've got something to give, why don't you give it to me? Day after day I have to say it. We're moving further from heaven and closer to the deep blue sea. 'Cause I have no secrets from you, and I have nothing left to hide, and I'm open to all your questions. Why can't you reach inside like I have, like I have for you? And all these games that you play don't tell me how a man should be. Some would say if you knew, you wouldn't be here with me. I love you, I still love you, but I guess it's time to let you be. 'Cause I have no secrets from you, and I have nothing left to hide. And I'm so tired of all these questions, 'cause maybe you just changed your mind like I have, like I have, like I have, like I have. When I was at your doorstep, you told me to look around. Said, come in, you and your heart, sit down. But you better watch yourself, 'cause you're not far from the ground. And what if one day this all falls down?
The production. That's shallow.
If you've got something to say, why don't you say it? If you've got something to give, why don't you give it to me? Day after day I have to say it. If we've got something to say, why don't we save it?
Another fantastic tune, and another tune that certainly does indicate that George was, keen to create songs that, had more, let's say, depth and artistry than the tracks I've heard from Wham, which again is not a criticism. I get it. His solo career perhaps doesn't happen in the same way without the Wham experience happening before it. But yeah, people have mentioned that, from specifically George's desire to not be sort of typecast as the way they were presented, as Wham, or the way that sort of the media and music world viewed them. And it's another one where I feel like the lyrics are interesting because like I think there's it sounds like asymmetrical connection between the two people. It's like it sounds like he's basically saying like you actually have to put into it. If there's something to save, then like you have to do it. If there's something to something that will of value for you, then you have to meet me halfway because I'm always the one who says it. I'm always the one who's putting in this effort. But it doesn't sound like the person is entirely jaded. It sounds like there's still an openness, a willingness to be with this other person. They just want it to be, I think, a bit more even in the dynamic. But there was a line, something like people talking about love, and maybe if we listen to them, you would be. They'd say like you'd never be here to begin with, and it felt like maybe again it's broaching on like sexuality and the public perception and attitudes about like non-standard sexual orientation, and I don't know if that's again like just me trying to like take what I know about George and his history and sort of extrapolate that into lyrics where it's not necessarily relevant. But that one line did catch my ear because it was like, oh, like who could that be, and what might they be saying that would suggest like, well, if it was real love, like this other person wouldn't be there. Because it could be simpler. It could just be like other people are saying to the narrator like, this person's not good for you, so you should not be with them, you should leave them. So he's saying like, if we listen to others, I'd be out of here. We wouldn't be a thing together. So again, I feel like it could be on like a more like societal observational level, and it could be a more like interpersonal observational context. So either way, a really cool tune. His vocals in a couple moments, and just overall, but there are a couple moments in particular really standing out, and then that super rich, chorus of George's, the sort of gospel chorus of George. After we already went to the church of George, it feels like there's going to be lots of these phrases that come to mind as I listen to his music. But I really enjoyed that moment. It was like triply, quadruply rich with his vocal